Hello, and welcome to the first episode of the very first season, my very first try of doing a playthrough of Grand Tactician, the Civil War. I think that's the full name of the game is Grand Tactician Civil War. I have played this a little bit up to this point just to kind of learn the basics of things, like learn how to move around, learn how to like order units and stuff, learn how to fight. Not very good though, because I got walloped in my starting playthrough. So this time around, I decided to record it. So I'm going to go for another round. Hopefully, I can learn as I go. Maybe some people can teach me what the heck I'm doing, teach me how to play better, teach me how to be good at the game. But we'll see. So I don't know what I'm going to call the campaign just yet. I might just call it whatever side I choose. So let's go with uh, well, there's nothing to continue, but let's go with start the campaign. I went through some of the tutorial stuff. I have this expansion. It's called Whiskey and Lemons. It's like it's something like role playing. Like you start out as like just like a regular commander of like one little tiny unit, and as you fight, you'll gain prestige and stuff, and you can spend that prestige to get yourself promoted and take control of bigger units. And it's like restricted to, as you can see here, just the sort of eastern theater of the Civil War. Not going to do that. We're going to go with the start of the war, spring 1861. So that opens up the whole, basically, the whole front, like the whole everything. And we're going to play as the Confederates, I think, because they are the underdogs in this. And the way this game works, there's going to be a lot of explaining in this first episode, as I know, as I see it at least. So the way this works is you choose up to 3 of these policies to start out with. And the ones that were selected were the historical ones. So each of these policies will give you like an advantage. Like this one, this is the Old Dominion. This is like Virginia. So Virginia will secede from the Union and join the Confederacy. And you also put the capital in Richmond. You move it from Montgomery, Alabama. What this does, it gives you more Confederate support in Virginia, and it decreases the Union morale by 5 because it's so close to Washington. And then you got Kansas, a slave state, so you're organizing pro-slavery immigration to Kansas, and you gain 25 support in Kansas, and plus 5 support in all slave states. Now I don't know about all that, and then you get slaves to the west, slavery to the west. You get various bonuses like southern support in these other territories like Arizona and New Mexico. You get like 25. You get 25% population, recruitment allowed, trade capacity. You get apostles of disunion, so official support for pro-slavery. Fire eaters will increase southern support in all slave states by 20, but also increases northern support in all free states by 10. So there's some give and take here. So we're just going to like look through here and see what we got. Probably just go with whatever happened historically. King Cotton, that was obviously like a historical one here. All plantations will start the campaign with a higher upgrade level. Support in slave states is increased. European intervention level plus 20. So I think one of the things you can do is you can get the Europeans to intervene, and that might be like a victory condition, maybe. It's required for level 3 and 4 agriculture policies. So let's go ahead and take King Cotton to start out with. We get 2 more to choose from. We get industrialization. This wasn't really a thing that the Confederates started out with, so I don't think we're going to go for that. Immigration from Europe increases population within Confederacy by 25%, but lowers the unity. Arms agents. You can. The number of weapons available to the Confederacy is increased by 50%, and Springfield weapon types can be made available for production. Union morale -5. This is another historical one, is Native allies. You approach the Native Americans to ally with them against Northern oppressors. Confederate support in Indian territory is +25. Recruitment from the Indian tribes, and the number of volunteers is doubled. We can support the construction of the Southern Pacific Railroad, connecting the Atlantic and Pacific coasts. So you're increasing trade. CSA credit rating +2. Railroad transport capacity and construction speed +25%. So let's probably just go with the historical stuff, if it's the way to go, I guess. So that would be Virginia, the Old Dominion, King Cotton, and Native allies. We are the Confederates here. So I just spent all that time reading through for nothing, essentially. And we'll go for historic policies. Honestly, I'm going to do like easy difficulty because I don't know what I'm doing here. Like, I don't want to just get annihilated. And what little tutorial I went through, this is actually a pretty difficult game. And then down here, here's all these realism options. So in this game, there can be order delays, which means like you'll see it once we get into a fight. But you'll have like your headquarters, which would be like right here, like your headquarters guy, like your commander of your division. And then each brigade commander, or each like sub commander will have like their own units, like one here, one here, one here, one here. And when you try to give an order, they won't just immediately react. Like, they have to send out a little rider from your commander to the guy to get him to like move. Now, in theory, that's really fun, and it goes along with. I also play a game called Kriegspiel, which is it's a tabletop game. It's like a double-blind tabletop game, which also has like an order system. But I have read, and I was looking this up. I was having some issues because like I would issue an order to like a unit, and it would just like it would turn like the complete wrong direction or something. Or you'd give an order to a unit, and it would just start down like the wrong path, and it would just like it literally, if you let them, they'll just literally walk and like into an enemy unit, which doesn't make any sense to me. And I was doing a little bit of reading, and they suggested that you start out with order delay turned off. Fog of War. Because I want to be able to see and explain things as we go, we're going to leave Fog of War off. Readiness system, I think a lot of people play with readiness turned off. So what happens is your units they'll just get stuck. Like, if they have low readiness, they'll just stand there and do nothing, which isn't fun. It doesn't make a very fun thing. So if readiness is turned off, that should apply equally to myself and the AI. So like both of us will have readiness turned off. Feuds. This is apparently good for like role playing, but just having your commanders just like start freaking out on each other for no reason and not being able to like fix it, and they'll act on their own as well. So if you have like a brigade that's commanded by like a guy that doesn't like his commander, like he might just wander off and just start doing his own thing, which doesn't sound very good for someone like me who's just kind of starting out here. And then auto manage we've turned off because we'll do the managing ourselves. So that's it. I know a lot of these option realism stuff is turned off. I just want to get a feel for the game, first of all. So let's go ahead and give the campaign a start. And from what I read, turning off this stuff won't really it's not a huge effect on the game. It's like quality of life, really. So let's start the campaign. Ooh, that's pretty gruesome. 1860. The Southern states persuaded Virginia to secede. And as you can see, the bottom of my screen is very slightly cut off here. But I kind of had to do that because anytime I would click off of my screen, like the whole thing would just like downsize. So putting it in a window fixed that a little bit. Hopefully, it won't be a big issue or anything. Oh, I have the volume on this turned way down. I can't even. I just hear like a buzzing sound. All right, let's skip over this video. All right, here we are, and the bottom of the screen is cut off pretty well. All right, let's see if we can't fix this. Full screen. Okay, that fixed it. Although if I click over here, like off screen, what happens? It goes away. So you might end up seeing my desktop a few times throughout all of this. So this is what's the date? February 23rd, 1861. The war doesn't begin until like the middle of April, I think. So you got a couple of months here to do some things. And as you can see from the red, this is what is like in the process of seceding from the Union already. So you don't have like North Carolina or Virginia, or Tennessee, or anything of the sort just yet. And we have time to actually do some things. And as you can see, it's kind of like an interesting like overlay map, and then you zoom in, you get to see the stuff up close as like the game map. Now, some of the things about the UI here that I've learned is you've got your current rating. This is like your overall like health of your economy. It will go down. Like there's almost no way to prevent it from going down, from what I've heard and what I've read. Sorry, getting a drink. There's like no real way to stop it from like going down. It just goes down over time. But there are ways to get it to go back up a little bit. And then you have your national morale, which is pretty important because I believe your armies start out with like a certain morale. And then we've got this is your fielded manpower. There are 18,000 volunteers available. We don't have to worry about that right now because we're not fighting anything or doing anything of the sort. We have your strategy. This is like the overview. So both of us have 100 national morale. We have 98 national support as opposed to 77. We have slightly better army morale. We are outnumbered in terms of loyal states. Pretty even on men fielded. And we are outnumbered 10 to 1 on Navy tonnage. And then they have a massive economy lead, about 6 to 1 for the economy. And we have objectives here. We can break the Union morale by getting it below 25. And we can capture Washington. And then you go up here to the military, and you can scroll through your armies, which we only have 2 of them right now. We got the South Carolina State Militia and the Florida State Militia. You can also look through your fleets, but this is like, we don't have any fleets. This is stuff that's in harbor. And I believe the percentage means it's being built or being repaired or something. I think it's just being built. So those will be done eventually, I assume. We have a whole set of officers. So you can scroll through and look at your various officers. And the officers all have like stats. And these mean different things, but generally the rank will be on the left. This will tell you if they're a veteran or not, which will probably give them like an advantage when it comes to their stats. Their West Point graduate, again, probably gives you more leadership and things like that. And then it'll have you, some of them will have a branch that they came up in. So they're probably better at leading that particular branch, like cavalry for cavalry, infantry for infantry, etc. And then you get weapons. You can eventually purchase and construct weapons and things like that, but we're nowhere near like being able to do anything like that. And then we have finances. Now this is kind of important because let me do. Yeah, we'll look at projects next, but here's finances. So you can invest into various parts of your economy, or like here, this in this case, economy, agriculture. So I'm just going to put everything to like the minimum amount of medium. Industry. Hang on, let's get diplomacy up there. There we go. Military, we're going to go to the max on that, and we're going to go to max on industry. Now, what these do, and we're going to go down on politics a little bit because we don't need all these. Well, maybe we do. Hang on. We'll go to level one policies. But the important, what these contribute to, you can see like politics, economy, agriculture, and they're all color coded. You go over here to projects. That is politics. Okay. So maybe we will go to level two politics. Okay. So as you play, your subsidies, these are subsidies essentially that you're putting points into. They'll eventually build up enough, like in these funding, like this one here, Austrian rifles. It requires a funding of 2.5 million, and it's diplomacy. Now, as far as I know, your diplomacy money gets spread out amongst all the diplomacy. This one's diplomacy. So all these foreign weapons, these are all diplomacy. And there's probably some over here too. Send envoys, like this one here. But it should get spread out evenly amongst all your diplomacy categories. So they'll all start to fill up from the funding that you give them, and then you can like essentially activate them. So like my military and my industry should fill up faster than say what is this one? That's politics. So this here is military because it's got the cannon. So this one here should fill up faster than like this one here, which is the politics or diplomacy. And then you get policies, or which are like your focuses, like in other games, like your tech tree is essentially like a tech tree, and you get various options here. You get government funding. So this is a way. I think this is a way to increase your rating if it starts to dip, like your credit rating or whatever it is. And then you can see they're divided up into funding, agriculture, industry, military, diplomacy. And I don't think the funding that you put into your subsidies, I don't think it affects any of this stuff really. But these are just kind of categories to give you an idea of what you're getting. So in this case, what we probably need, and something I noticed in the tutorial, is that you can run out of troops. Like you run out of volunteers very quickly. So what we will need Militia Act at some point. But for now, we don't need it immediately because war won't be starting for like another 60 days. We can choose another policy here that will complete, and it will have like more of a long-term effect than just this Militia Act. And the troops that I'll explain that in a minute as well, the troops. So we're going to go with diplomacy. Yeah, so increases the maximum number of annual diplomatic subsidies per policy level and allows further endeavors and projects, including trade deals, improved relations, and weapons import deals. Getting some European weapons would be pretty cool, I think. So let's go for that one to start out with. And you can see it's checked there now. It looks like it says 254 days. It's 25.4. And so, what we will want to do next, however, is the Militia Act, which is only 10 days, and it will allow recruitment of volunteer units that serve 1 year contracts. So, you can recruit these guys, but they'll go away after a year, essentially. And so, the longer we wait to activate this is probably better, or maybe their 1 year starts after you recruit the individual unit. I'm not sure. But as it is, we don't need troops right now because we're just standing around doing nothing, like nothing's happening. So we'd rather get some diplomacy going before we do anything else. Close that one. Here's the projects again. Then you get buildings in production. I'm not at all familiar with this thing, really, honestly. Um, we get gold mines and things like that. Chattanooga, Tennessee. I wonder if we. I wonder if we upgrade the gold mine. I wonder if it'll like give us more money in the long run. Kind of an interesting thing. And then we get goods and trade. Again, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know about all this stuff. Like gold is worth nothing apparently. Who knows? I don't know. But we can go down here. I'm not going to worry about railroads. We probably have enough roads in general, and I don't know where to build them anyway. But you can build federal buildings. And these are like state buildings essentially. And you can build like a military academy. You can put a military academy in each state essentially if you wanted to. It makes officers from that state better. You can build prison camps. Prison camps are pretty cool because when you capture enemy troops on the battlefield, there's a chance that they will you end up paroling them, and they'll come back. Like you end up having to fight them again. So if you have a prison camp, you'll send enemy captured troops to a prison camp, and they won't be able to be paroled. News agency. Um, we have fog of war turned off, so we probably don't need to worry about news agency. Market. These improve local economy. I don't know. I wouldn't know where to build them. Then you have hospitals. That's going to be useful. And the bank. Well, we can't build a bank anyhow. We need to do the Bank Act. So for now, let's construct a prison camp. And we're going to build it, let's see. Where do we expect to be fighting? Maybe over here around the Carolinas. But there'll also be some fighting out here in the West, I think. So maybe we'll build it down here near Jackson. Yeah, I think we'll build it around Jackson, Mississippi. There we go. And then we want a hospital. So let's build that around Atlanta, maybe, or here in Alabama. There we go. That's all the federal buildings we probably want for now, because I don't want to go too crazy with it. I'm not really sure if it's even good that I'm building this stuff. We are very poor in comparison to the north. And then I read that you should turn on auto placement for these things because it picks the best spot to put them, even though you don't get to actually control where they go. But what would the South need? We probably need foundries. We probably have enough farms, right? Since we're in the South. Foundries, ironworks, factories, who knows? But we can build, let's start with an ironworks. So it looks like we built one there. That's Natchez. That's in Mississippi, I think. And then a foundry around Corinth. That's also Mississippi. Okay, that's fine. It's enough spending money that we don't have to do things that I'm not sure I'm supposed to be doing. And what is this? This is evenly matched. This looks like a victory meter. Looks like the Union already, Union already has an advantage there. Okay. Economy alerts. I can't deal with all that stuff. So we're gonna go ahead and save the game. We'll call this Confederate 1 save. So our setup is essentially finished. And as I understand it, we are besieging Fort Sumter over here. This is what's going to kick the war off eventually. Let's go ahead and start the game off. America divided. The Union is dissolved. Texas secession referendum votes are being counted. So Texas may leave, which we know it probably should, unless something weird or ahistorical happens. And let's speed up time to like 20, 50. Nothing's happening. Jefferson Davis is inaugurated. And then we've issued bonds. We issued 25 million bonds on the public debt markets as a okay, I don't know what all that means, but our debt rating is still good to go, it looks like. We can look at our finances here. We have 14 million in our treasury. And there it is. As you can see, the Austrian rifles, we have 4,000 in there out of 2.5 million so far. This one here might be a little bit better because we put more in. Yeah, this one has 8,000 out of 2 million. Okay. Because it was diplomacy or whatever versus military. We're putting way more into military and industry than anything else. Loyalties in Missouri are torn. That's over here. Kentucky is going to stay neutral. So that's Fort Sumter situation is deteriorating. So I did notice that if you have it running at 50x and like a news article pops up and you click off the news article, it will resume immediately at 50x. So it's going to resume at whatever thingamabobber you have it at. So you got to be quick to get it back down to like whatever speed you're running it on. Well, down to a slower one so you can respond to stuff. All right, we got our first month is finished. We should have a report here. Here's the economy report right here. So our current rating is an A minus, which is very good. We did increase the debt because we are spending money. Our economy cycle is expansion. The wealth of the population is below average and increasing. Our tax revenues increased by 51 million. Last month we built our stuff, our foundry, our hospital, ironworks, and prison camp. And then our total export volume was 13 million, while we imported 10 million. The economy is in healthy condition. No shortages are noticed. Well, that's very good. Excellent. Texas joins the Confederacy. That should give us a nice boost to the economy. Okay, just looking at things. I don't know what's going on here in this game. Policies, we're about halfway down. We got 15 days left on our first level of diplomacy. Lincoln has been inaugurated. That's fine. I'm sure he'll be cool with us. Virginia's loyalty to the Union is questioned, so that we have the Old Dominion, so Virginia should go to us automatically. We should get Virginia, North Carolina, and Tennessee, and Arkansas. Confederate States Army is established. I don't know. Would we get Kansas as well? I don't think we get Kansas. We get Indian Territory. We should have Indian tribes on our side here. Monthly intelligence reports. That's not going to tell us anything useful. The morale of Federals is 93, so it went down by 7%, probably because of all the succession stuff happening. Okay, it looks like just a few more days until we can start a new policy. And I'll also check once we do that, I'm going to check these subsidies or those are projects, those are called projects. Diplomacy 1 enacted. The Confederates government is taking steps to improve the relations with European nations. Excellent. So now we go in here and we're going to tick off Militia Act. Now, I wonder what this does. I wonder if this gives us access to like weapons deals. It's not being produced or imported. Not in production. Some of the stuff is in production. These are being produced. Howitzers. Let's order some. We're going to order 16 24-pound howitzers. And we might as well order some of these as well. I don't know. We'll need cannons. We can't order anything else. Officers. Hey, it's Longstreet. He's not from Virginia, so that's why we have him. I think because we don't have Virginia, we don't see a lot of the Virginian officers like Lee, uh, Armistead probably, Pickett, maybe Garnett. Like a lot of people that were in Lee's division were Virginians. Like there was an all Virginian brigade or an all Virginian division, I think. It was under Pickett. So it was Longstreet's corps, I mean. So we've completed our prison camp. And we've completed our hospital. That's pretty cool. Maybe once we succeed, or once we get away from the Union, maybe we'll build a hospital like over here somewhere, like closer to a lot of the fighting that took place over here. Okay. Let's see here. So we're given speeches. Does that mean anything? We didn't finish this yet. 7 days on Militia Act. We are getting close. We're getting close to the war already. I'll probably get up to the war and then probably call it the end of the episode. I need to look and see how big this file size is because my upload speed is horrendous. So it could take me a very long time to upload these episodes. Rule the waves that I do in my other playthroughs. It's like it doesn't take up much space at all as far as like recording. So it's a lot easier to upload, but this might be really slow. So this is Union industrialization. That makes sense. They're very industrialized compared to us. We'll have to work on our own at some point. But for now, we need to make some friends. Here's the militia. So let's pick a new policy. We have about 2 weeks or so before the war starts historically. So in those 2 weeks, what can we do? Nothing. We can't do that. We could start the military act. What does it do? It increases the maximum amount of military subsidies and allows financing and further military projects, including the introduction of new weapons and ship types and military reforms. Let's go with King Cotton. Huh. No, let's go with industrialization. We're gonna go with industrialization because we probably have like a lot of farms and plantations and stuff in the South here. So it's probably not as important as getting an industry online, especially if it means being able to build more guns. So here's our economy report. We're still very good. We're at an A. The debt hasn't increased at all. It's still at 60. We're expanding. Our population wealth is increasing. Tax revenues increased by 14 million during the last month. We didn't build any new buildings. Our tax or export volume went way up. It was like 14 million or something last month. And then we lost 25 million worth of corporate production. We lack iron flour. Okay, well, we might better fix that. We just built an ironworks though, so maybe we ought to give that time to like build mills. Does this make flour? It is. Okay. It built it in Alabama. Okay. Well, we're not going to build any iron stuff because we built one last month. Maybe it just needs time. I'm not going to worry about the intelligence report because I don't feel like there's probably anything happening yet. Okay. We built the foundry. Yeah, maybe our ironworks might not have even been finished yet. Supply situation at Fort Sumter is critical. We're getting close to the beginning of the war here. A lot of staring at the map for now, but I think we're about a week away. Or the 15th, so we're about 5 days away, maybe. Was the 14th or the 15th that the war started? I think it's the 15th. Beauregard issues an ultimatum: surrender or else. They're Fort Sumter. Fort Sumter has surrendered. So maybe it is the 14th because it's today's the 13th. So let's slow down the speed a little bit. Nope. Maybe it is the 15th, April 15th. Oh, there it is. That's a rough looking guy right there. All right. So that's it. That is the war. Civil War indeed. Whoa, hang on. Civil War indeed. So we're going to save the game as Confederate 1. And that'll be it for this episode. This is just the starter. We'll be getting into, as you can see, we spawned a lot of armies here on the right side of the screen. We got a lot of armies to work with now. Looks like most of them are very small, like 4,000 men, 2,000 men, etc., etc. So the next episode will have to be building up an army and looking for some enemies to fight. So we did get Tennessee, we got North Carolina and Virginia. We got Arkansas, and we're contesting Missouri. We have 2,000 soldiers versus 1,500. They're going to go up to 18,000. Okay. So yeah, that's going to be a thing, but we'll worry about that next episode. That'll be a lot of organizing next episode and kind of learning how we assign officers and maybe some guns and stuff. So I'm going to save the game. Confederate 1. All right, and that'll be it. That's it. That is the end of the first episode. If you liked it, let me know. If you don't like it, let me know. If you know about this game and have a bunch of cool tips and tricks and stuff for me, let me know. This first one, like this first playthrough, might be a lot shorter. Like it might end very disastrously, and we'll have to try playing as the Union or changing the options or figuring something out, changing our strategy. We'll see how it goes. Anyhow, I'll see y'all next time. And I would normally say sail safe out there, but we'll have to figure out a new little thingamajiggy to say. This is me trying to get my mouse off the screen so I can hit stop recording. This is going to be annoying. All right, stop recording. Good night.